Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Answer is Yes podcast, where we will explore the cause and effect of just saying yes in your everyday life or in business. I will dig into topics that are not just stimulating, but will challenge you to be better in everything you do. The podcast is based on the simplicity of saying yes to opportunities you might encounter every single day. I'm your host, Jim Riley. Join me in my first series titled Blue Collar Redefined. Welcome to another week of the Answer is Yes podcast. Man, I've just had a really full week, a great time interviewing people and getting others on the show. We had Sal Fish on the show for the Baja Sessions this week. If you have not heard Sal's story, he'll take you all the way back to 1954. His first days down in Baja. Sal, if you don't know who he is a legend down in Baja. He really kind of created what Baja 1000 off-road racing is today through over 40 plus years of running the SCORE International organization. And God, I really enjoyed having him on the show and hearing some stories that I had not heard before. And I know we've already got a ton of downloads on it. So again, if you have interest in off-road racing and Sal Fish and legendary people down in Baja, that's your show this week, Baja Sessions. I want to thank you for all your comments over the weekend about this show and the guests that we've had on. And I'm starting to get a long list of people that are interested in being on the show or referrals, and just keep them coming. And by the way, if you have any questions for me to ask on the show or ask of guests, please shoot me an email or a text or something on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Most of my handles are Jim Riley Racing, and you can catch me at any one of those. Just looking at what's happened in the last 7 days, of course, I'm still training for my Spartan Ultra Beast race at the end of the month. 30 miles, 70 obstacles through Squaw Valley. God knows what the elevation changes are going to be. And by the way, we get to swim, 2 times in a lake that is 34 degrees. 34, yes, that's what I said. Luckily, I think it's only like 100 yards, 50 to the end and then 50 back. But we do get to do it 2 times. So as we taper down and get ready for that race, I'll let you know how it goes. My hands are wasted. I ripped a tendon off my middle finger on my right hand, so that's going to be a little bit challenging. But I'm getting through it. And as far as Baja United stuff goes, we had an incredible weekend. We did 4 events this last weekend, all in different places with all different types of people. A couple of them, the wine tasting events we did were for giveaways that we did for silent auctions of charities that we supported. I believe one of them was for Corazon de Vida. And then we did some other private events. We even did the Claremont Wine Walk out here in the Inland Empire. We had a lot of interest in Baja United Wines and what's happening down there. So thank you to everybody. Matter of fact, Super King, I guess it's a Mexican grocery store. There's 6 of them in Southern California. Approved our products to go in those stores. So if you're in a Super King, if you know the areas, look in the wine aisle. Look for Monte Chinique. Well, that really leads me to this week's show, and I've just had an incredible day. I've done several interviews, and I'm going to bring to you somebody that I've been a fan of since the day I met her, and that is Rachel Svoboda, and she's currently at Gig Savvy. She owned her own company, Sunday Brunch Agency, where she partnered with them. But the reason why Rachel's important to me is when I was contemplating doing a podcast, my partner Eric Morley at Blue Sea Advertising suggested we needed to do it. I was the guy. I'm good at it. Of course, I've never done one. And he asked me what ideas that I had. And I said, I think I want to do something about saying yes to opportunities in business and life. And he goes, oh, I love it. Let me talk to Rachel, his good friend at the time. And I guess he pitched her, and she's a publicist. She liked the idea. And we all had lunch at Javier's. And I guess the rest is history. This is going to be our 21st show for The Answer is Yes. I think we've got a dozen knocked out for Baja Sessions. So, Rachel, thank you for all your efforts in getting me going and where I'm at today. And I'm excited to have Rachel on the show, and I say this in the show, but I really appreciate women that are making a difference in business and in life and setting an incredible example for other women to follow. I know my wife listens to these podcasts sometimes, and I'm really proud of the people that I've interviewed so that she can hear from them and where their success comes from and how they got to where they are today. And I think Rachel's a perfect example of that. So let's listen in on that interview, and I'll catch back with you at the end of the show. Hello, and welcome to the Answer is Yes podcast. My name is Jim Riley, your host of the show, and I'm here with Rachel Svoboda. I did that right, huh?
That was perfect.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't realize that Rachel is partially responsible for me doing a podcast to begin with. I think that it was Eric Morley's idea at Blue Sea Advertising to tell me, hey, you should do a podcast and help our SEO and our business out. And he asked me for the pitch of what it was going to be, and I said the answer is yes. He goes, I got to talk to some people about that. And then your name came up, and you did some publicity for us.
A little bit. Yeah, well, anything to help the community, help Eric and you and your next entrepreneurial adventures.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that it snowballed and you just kept saying yes.
It kept saying yes, literally. And, I really appreciate it because I didn't know what I was going to do and what the story was going to be, but you gave me the encouragement through your emails and our lunch to do this. And a lot of times it's just about doing it, right? And here we are. I'm over 35 shows right now.
Wow. I'm so impressed.
That's crazy.
And I love how you light up when you talk about it. And that is something that's really good. It feels like it's a hobby that you actually, but it's work too. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think, and by the way, for our listeners, we have Henry Park in the studio with us also listening in. We didn't give him a mic because he's on a roll today. But, for me, when right, just looking at him makes you smile, right? For me, knowing when I interview people, I get a takeaway from this. There's a tremendous takeaway, and I want to be a better person just for being there, right?
Here, wait a minute.
Okay.
We'll have to post this.
Who's in marketing in this room? All of us?
Oh, wait, come in close.
Yeah.
There you go. Vertical for the stories
Awesome.
on Instagram. Someone said this morning that Instagram, I think we all can kind of agree. It's like taking over. And it's taking over for Facebook. It's taking the place of websites in some places. It's like I can't go anywhere or do anything without
I really do.
needing to
I really
capture.
do enjoy Instagram, actually.
Yeah, you're all over it.
Yeah.
I know. I'm impressed.
Part of the deal.
I never thought I would be so committed to social media. Like, I never did. I was always like the anti. And now every morning, they asked me this morning on the morning show, what do you do first thing when you wake up?
Uh-oh.
They're like, we ask everyone that question. I said,
Yeah.
oh, okay, well, the first thing I do is, I was like, oh, crap. Well, the truth is, the first thing I do is I check my Instagram, but I can't say that. So I was like, I work out, or I get the kids ready for school. But yeah, I do.
Yeah, you want to see what happened overnight, right? And you slept for 4 hours. You want to know what happened the last 4 hours in the middle of the night.
Yes. Hey, I think it's pretty common knowledge that I don't sleep very much.
Yeah, you're very active. But I think what's great about Instagram is that it does allow us to keep in touch with people, see what everybody's doing. And I think that, obviously that's the success behind social media. And, all of us enjoy it. I'm trying to consume less content, to be honest with you.
Are you?
Yeah.
How are you doing that? How's that going?
There's a class for it. There's a rehab center. No, I have tried to prioritize a little bit my mornings and where I spend my time. I'm not saying I don't get on social media. My wife and I, we actually have a little quiet time in the morning where we'll both sneak out of bed because by then the kids have gotten in bed with us. So we sneak out and the coffee just came on, and
nice.
we will spend a few minutes, chatting and kind of going through Instagram and enjoying maybe 30 minutes of quiet time.
Those are magical moments.
They are magical. So let's go back to when I met you and the project of doing some publicity for Baja United and the creation of this podcast. And the reason why I want to go back to that is because that is where I met you. That is where I discovered what you're about and what you do for a career and where you've been. And I've just been so fascinated by your success, at least what I've been able to see in the last 6 to 8 months.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Where are you at right now?
I'm here talking to you. No, seriously. But where I'm at right now is about having courageous conversation.
Yeah.
Is where I'm at. I feel like a lot of what we are doing, whether it's on social media or it's for our clients or it's the day-to-day, everything is 8.5 by 10, glossy, retouched perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I'm at this point where I want to sit down with people, whether they're my clients or my friends or my kids or, I want it to be a courageous conversation about how you're really doing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want it to just look like everything's perfect all the time because someone asked me recently, well, they were too intimidated to ask me. They asked someone that knows me, does Rachel even own sneakers or jeans?
Okay.
Okay. And I was like, uh-oh. My content or my persona, my image has skewed too far towards painting this picture that I'm always perfectly put together. So I, my company merged. I'm going to tell you the story here. My company merged with GigaSavvy earlier this year. And so a lot of the people there's about 40 people, didn't know me all that well. So a week ago, I got up in front of everybody for like an hour and had one of those like retreat style, tell all your secrets, deepest, darkest moments. And there were tears.
Wow.
And people were like, oh my God, we had no idea. And by the way, I dressed for the occasion. I was in like Nikes and like my mom workout clothes with a baseball hat. And I was like, this is the authentic, real me. When I'm not dressed for a client, I'm not dressed for an event. I'm just a real person, you know, and let me share with you. And I'm open and I'm honest and I'm not afraid to tell you guys anything you want to know. And then I had some people like ask me questions that would sort of like take us deeper. So that's where I'm at. I want people to be proud of who they are and what they've gone through.
I love that.
And to share it.
So, not to put you on the spot, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
What were some of those points that you brought up in that presentation?
Yeah. So I feel like people can easily sit down and tell you their resume, like where they worked and what they did, and it's all available. Like people don't have a problem sharing, like, oh, where I went to college, and you know, I was in this sorority, but they don't take the time to be like, hey, I'm the oldest of 3 sisters.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay. Or, you know, my parents are still happily married after 40 years. They still live in the same house, and they've just recently decided not to sell it. They're going to renovate it because it's so sentimental that they want to always keep it. Okay, like so. Going deeper down some of those paths, as well as like my personal life has definitely not been an easy straight line trajectory.
Yeah.
I mean, my career I've always been very dedicated to, and I actually talked about how it was hard to get my first job in advertising, how no one would hire me because. Wait, let me back up.
Okay.
Okay, let me back up. So
it's your story. Go for it.
So when I after college I went to law school. I don't know if you even knew that.
I do remember you saying something about law school before.
And then I wanted a job in advertising, and no one would hire me, so I kept showing up. And
because you had a law degree?
Well, because I hadn't been doing internships in that field.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, so someone gave me a job as a receptionist, and I was like, I think that's humanizing, even. You know, like I didn't come in as the boss. I came in like foot in the door, just like anybody else. And I was lucky to have it. And then my career, I've always worked really hard at. In my personal life, I've worked hard at it too, but it's been a little more of a struggle. You know, I've gone through a lot, and I'm not shy to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, I think domestic violence is called the silent crime for a reason, and 1 in 4 women in America have survived it. And, you know, I don't mind advocating for it, and I've met a lot of other strong women that have survived it. But if I hadn't brought it up, they wouldn't have talked about it.
Yeah.
So that's another part that I talked about, and most people in the room didn't know.
I want to go back to that because that's a really important topic. What I want to talk about, though, real briefly, is you had a law degree. Yes. And you became a receptionist in marketing.
Yeah.
I love that. What I love about that is that you seem to have done what you wanted to do, and that was go into marketing and not be an attorney.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
And this is what I love about it. There's so many people that will get a degree because their parents tell them to get the degree in whatever that world is. Mm-hmm. Henry's over here shaking his head. He wants his daughter to be a doctor, right?
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
It pretty much guarantees she'll be anything but.
Yeah, right? So, you know, here you have this degree, and you chose the path of something that you wanted to do. And so let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. Did you want the law degree, or did your parents want you to have that?
Well, okay, my parents are like, hey, I think I want to try this. And I'm like, great, you'll do good at that.